It's time for a new episode of Sit Down with the Supt. In this episode, retiring Superintendent John Boyd shares his reflections on his time in Evergreen Public Schools, the last graduation ceremonies of his 33-year career in education, and why he's so hopeful for the future of our schools. Also, Board President Rob Perkins stops by to answer questions about the search for an interim superintendent, and students making positive change, how they made their voices heard in the search for new playground friends.
Hello and welcome to Sit Down with the Supt. I'm Craig Birnbach. I work in the communications department here at Evergreen Public Schools. I'm your host for the show where the superintendent and other school leaders share important information that impact our school community. In this episode, the soon-to-be retiring Superintendent John Boyd will share some of his thoughts on the end of the school year and his overall experience here at EPS. And Board President Rob Perkins will join us to share information on the process to select the district's next superintendent. And we also have a wonderful story of some elementary school students who made their voices heard to help others at their school. But now I want to welcome in Superintendent John Boyd, and got to start with the congratulations. You've announced your retirement, and at this point, just a few days left as you're going to retire on June 30th. This will be your last sit down with the Supt.
Yeah, I can't believe it, Craig. It seems like it's just gone by in a flash, and I'm really appreciative to all the people that supported me while I was here, and the communications team. You guys do so much work here. Thank you and your team and your crew. I don't think people understand all of the work that you do on such a lean staffing level. Our district leaders, who I think are stunning, our principals, our staff, our teachers, and I'll tell you what, I'm so lucky to have worked with such a tremendous group of people in this system. Most importantly, our students, who are stunning, and I know we're going to talk about our students in a little bit, and that'll be fun for me.
Yeah, we'll get back to some talk about your tenure here, but
sure.
End of school, of course, plenty of celebrations all across the district. The biggest is our graduations. Great photo here. This is a grad walk, Evergreen High School students. They're one of multiple of our high schools that go to the elementary schools before they graduate and kind of show them what they can look forward to. But you went to all 7 graduations. I'm guessing this one maybe a little bit, they're all special, but since this was going to be your last year.
Yeah, this is my 20th straight year of being on the stage as either a principal or a superintendent, and it was emotional. I mean, when you see all these phenomenal students coming up to the stage, watch how their staff react to them, see how parents celebrate them. Anytime you are celebrating students, it's a good day. And graduation is what we aim for, and not just graduation, but making sure they graduate and are ready to go on. And so you can just tell and see these students are ready to tackle the difficult things moving forward, and it's such a pleasure and an honor really, to be on stage, handing out some diplomas, watching them walk by. And you're right, it got a little emotional, but also I was just super thrilled for the students and what they've accomplished and how people celebrate them.
And the weather was perfect. What a perfect 5 days for our graduation.
Right. Was it 2 years ago? We had the atmospheric river that came through. It was really nice. The sun shone through and on the faces of our graduates, and it was a beautiful thing to behold.
All right, now I do need to turn the attention back to you as you head into retirement. I'm going to ask you the most difficult question, I think, which is, what are you going to miss most about being the superintendent here at Evergreen Public Schools?
Yeah, I think it's the people. No question, it's the people. All of the people that I mentioned before, bus drivers, our kitchen workers, our custodians, our grounds people, our teachers, our paras, our leaders, and just the ability to interact with all of those people on a daily basis and feel like you have just a small part maybe of making their life a little better by some of the things that we've done. And so I'll miss that part, is the people most of all.
When you look back, I mean, the 2.5 years that you've had here, it's had ups and downs. I mean, there's some really challenging things that you had to take on. What are you most proud of?
You know, Craig, I think I'm most proud of managing those difficult things and standing in the fire and staying the course to be able to leave the district with a really good foundation moving forward. And although the budget, three $20 million budget reductions in a row, $60 million total, we've had to reduce 400 positions. And I don't want to be misunderstood on this point. I'm not proud of the fact that we had to reduce people, and because those are people that support our kids. But I am proud of the fact that we've been able to leave, I'll be able to leave the next superintendent with a budget that is solvent. And there are districts all over the state of Washington that are going under, and we're not in good, firm financial footing. I'm also proud of the fact, I'm just proud of our leadership in general and what they've done and accomplished to really turn a focus on students and on instruction and making sure that things are being put in place so students get a great opportunity to learn and grow. And through our strategic plan, I'm really proud of that, and I'm just honored to have led through some very difficult times that have gotten us to, I think, a place where the next superintendent can hit the ground running and build back some things that we've lost over time because of budgets.
Well, you mentioned it. I mean, you're not disappearing, right? You're going to still be paying attention to what's going on here at Evergreen Public Schools. As you leave, and you know we're transitioning into new leadership, what is your hope for the future of EPS and under new leadership?
Yeah, well, I'm hopeful, first of all. I'm hopeful based on where the district is now, where the budget is, and where the leadership in place. And the plans for belonging and success for students. I'm hopeful about the future for that. I also hope that people can come together and really center work and center conversations on what our students need. And so that's going to be a task for the next person to come in and try to bring people together after some really challenging circumstances that we faced moving forward. But I have hope for that, and I'm actually hopeful as well.
Well, thank you, John. We're not done with you yet, but of course, since John and his pending retirement is coming up, the Board of Directors is in the process of hiring an interim superintendent and then a permanent superintendent. To learn more about where we are in that process, we checked in with Board President Rob Perkins. Thank you, Board President Rob Perkins, for taking time to update the community on where we stand in hiring an interim superintendent. I'm going to start with a quick update to get us caught up to where we are now. The board made the decision to hire an interim superintendent on a one-year contract. The board also has hired a search firm, Human Capital Enterprises, to help with the interim search. Human Capital Enterprises shared out a community survey and then shared high-level summary of those results with the board. Applications were accepted for the position through June 5th. And then, Rob, on Tuesday night, the board took another step towards the hiring process in executive session. Can you explain what happened at the board's executive session?
We met there to select candidates from the 20 applicants that submitted resumes to be considered for the position. And after about an hour of deliberations with the search consultant, we came up with 4 candidates that we're going to advance as finalists for an interview. This being an abbreviated search, we'll just be doing the one round of interviews. Those will take place on the 20th and the 24th of June.
June 20th and 24th will be the initial interviews. Originally, the board had said they were going to try to hire an interim superintendent for early July. Is that still the plan?
That is still the plan. I think we're on track for the plan.
There was a lot of discussion within the board about whether or not the interim superintendent would be able to be a candidate to be the permanent superintendent. Can you explain where the board landed on that? That
person will, if they want to, have to go through the process just as any applicant would. So, and we're planning on a public process, so there will be opportunities for the public to meet our finalists for the permanent position.
Okay, so basically the interim, if they want, can apply, but they will have to go through the entire search process just like any other candidate for the permanent superintendent position.
Exactly, the entire search process.
Okay, and to talk about that process, I know we're at the interim, but people want to know what is the board's plan for hiring a permanent superintendent?
Well, we plan to engage a search firm for a more involved process than with the interim superintendent process, which will take between 6 and 8 months to complete. We're going to start with a request for proposals that'll go out, and then we'll consider and award a contract to one search firm who will lead us through a community process in the fall, followed by an opening of the position and a selection in the early half of 2025.
Okay, so in July you'll put out the request for proposal, decide on a search firm, and then work with them to set up a schedule, but you expect that in the fall the community involvement will begin.
Yes.
Okay, so, and this process will be multiple months, and what is the expectation of when a permanent superintendent would be selected?
Well, if we're going to get the largest pool of candidates possible, the advice I've been given is that we'll open the position for applicants in December and begin our initial interviews and vetting process in January, February, and March.
Okay, so almost a year-long process.
Almost a year-long process. The goal there will be to appoint a permanent superintendent on a 3-year contract in July of 2025.
And Rob, in addition to what's going on with Superintendent Boyd's retirement, last week it was announced that our Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Kimberly Armstrong, was named the new superintendent at Portland Public School, a huge job. Has the board discussed anything about how to fill that opening?
Well, I should say that we have really benefited from Dr. Armstrong's leadership as the Deputy Superintendent, the contributions that she's made with Superintendent Boyd and the other administrators have really laid a strong foundation for the work that we have to do ahead, implementing and operationalizing our strategic plan and maintaining a focus on student safety and outcomes. And I really celebrate the fact that Portland recognized that in her and offered her the job of superintendent. It shows, in my view, what kind of value she can bring for kids, and all we can do and all we want to do is wish her the best. She'll be amazing for that system.
And for us with the
yeah,
opening?
and for us it leaves the opening. But what we intend to do is rely on the interim superintendent with our advice to select a deputy superintendent to fill that position, who can continue the foundational work that they laid.
So step one is the interim superintendent, and then kind of cross that bridge once that decision has been made.
Yes.
Okay, now we've talked a lot about the future in the next interim superintendent, but of course the reason why that opening is because Superintendent Boyd has retired. And can you just speak a little bit to what about his tenure here at EPS?
I can. He hit the ground running when he started with us almost 2.5 years ago. With his work on the levy election, which, as we know, passed with a substantial majority. But he maintained that optimism and enthusiasm and that empathy throughout the very difficult work of adjusting our staffing and adjusting our budgets for the revenue losses that we've seen. I'm really glad he was here for that. He was the right person for this work. And the next person who comes along will stand on that firm foundation, for sure.
And his, talked a little bit, his energy and enthusiasm for kids is clear.
It's so clear. His focus on outcomes for students kind of shines through the work that he led through developing and finalizing the strategic plan. Now we have something we can really execute.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And again, the initial interviews for the interim superintendent will be held June 20th and 24th, and the board of directors will continue to update the community as we move forward.
Yeah, and Craig, I'd just like to interject that We have amazing staff, amazing students. We talked about it before, and great leadership in place to move the work forward. And my understanding was there was a lot of interest in the interim superintendent job. So I know there's a good candidate pool, and the board is committed to finding a strong leader for us moving forward. So I'm hopeful about that and optimistic that they'll find somebody that will do a great job for our students moving forward.
Thanks, John. And I thought it was only appropriate to leave with a story that one of the big rocks that you always, tell us here is the big rocks. We got to move those. Was the strategic plan.
Right.
And this story here from Riverview Elementary School, it kind of encompasses so many things from the strategic plan, belonging, and of course, student voice. This is a story from Riverview Elementary School on buddy benches.
B, be kind. U, uplift others. D, decide to. D, do good. Y, you can make a difference.
At Riverview Elementary School, 4 kindergarten students and a 5th grader all read the same buddy bench book, and they all came to the same exact conclusion. When you read the book about the buddy bench, what did you think about buddy benches?
I thought that it would really help the school.
It was interesting to see that each kid, as they read it just with me, they all came to that kind of the same connection and the same conclusion that we maybe needed a buddy bench at Riverview.
What's a buddy bench, you ask?
It's really easy. There's just one simple rule. If you want someone to play with, just sit down on the buddy bench. The people on the playground will notice you and will ask you to join them.
So what does an elementary school student do when they want to get something done at their school? Well, they go right to the top.
I wrote a letter to Principal Brawley, Mr. Eschels, and our counselor.
We talked to her about the buddy bench, and we tried to persuade her to let us get a buddy bench.
I think it worked.
Yeah, it did.
How convincing were the students?
Very convincing, very convincing. It was great to hear their letters, and they had lots of great reasons. Our vision as everyone belongs, and they were like, Principal Brawley, why don't we have a buddy bench yet? Like, that goes along with our vision and everything that we stand for here at Riverview.
Luckily, Riverview has a wonderful community partner. The Rotary Woodworkers of Clark County had already made a lending library for the school, and they stepped up to make the benches.
Ms. Brawley contacted me and said, hey, we love the library. Our kids have written letters about the buddy bench, and could you put together some buddy benches for our school? So we went back to our foundation and asked if we could have some money for the buddy benches, and they approved it.
At a May assembly, the buddy benches were unveiled to the school.
I say buddy, you say benches. Buddy, buddy, have fun.
Shortly after, the buddy benches were put into action, and they're doing exactly what they're intended to do.
You could go onto the buddy bench and someone might invite you to play.
Because we want to make Riverview a school that has lots of friends.
John, your thoughts on these difference makers?
Well, Principal Brawley is a difference maker. She's one of the best in the business, and the fact that she listened to the students, responded, and actually took action to elevate their student voice is something that is powerful in itself. To see those young students being empowered to lead and do something that seems like a small thing, but it's not. Belonging is huge, and belonging is a big part of the strategic plan. It's belonging and success. The academic side is the success. The belonging is that students feel like they're part of the community. And I can't tell you how many students that I've talked to that mention the little moments that somebody did exactly what happened in that video of another student coming by and saying, hey, let's go play. It makes me a little emotional. It's really powerful, really beautiful. And gosh, yeah, that's what we need to replicate all over the district.
Thank you, John. I want to thank you for coming on and doing the Sit Down with the Soup. When you first got here, you had no idea. I just said, hey, we do this thing. Would you be willing? It's a good way to speak to the community, and you jumped in and embraced it and are always willing to answer my questions and answer the community's questions. So I just want to, like so many of us, we want to wish you really happy retirement, and hope you get a lot out of this next chapter in your life.
I appreciate that. I receive that. Thank you. And it's been the honor of my life. Thank you, Craig.